So apparently, the film breakdown isn't going to be till tomorrow because the NFL doesn't release it till tonight or today. But I still got stuff for you. What is up, Finn fans? I still got a video for you today. Like I said in that stupid little intro. Normally it's 24 hours after the game comes out. They release the All 22, which I pay for. I think it's like $200 for the year of football, which is like 3-4 months. But yesterday I went to go access it so I can make the video for today. It wasn't available. It's now available. I will do it tonight. It will be out tomorrow like it usually is. But I was like, I'm still going to give him something. So we're going to talk about a few notes from Mike McDaniel, from about Tua, Pro Bowl voting, all that stuff. And then I have updated stats and from Tua and from somebody that a lot of people are asking, where is this guy? He's a bust, this, and that. So we're going to jump into this, and we're going to talk first and foremost about the play calling, right? So obviously, the Bills game, a lot of people, myself included, was very upset with the way that they stopped running the ball. And in Barry Jackson's article, he says, when the Bills adjusted their defense, Mike McDaniel had two options: keep running the ball until the Bills proved they could stop it on several plays, or B, throw more to try to take advantage of the Bills playing only one safety deep. McDaniel generally opted for the latter. And this is what Mike McDaniel said about that. He says, in a game like that, you have to kind of stay ahead of what the defense is doing. I think when they adjusted, we had to give them a reason to play single safety. I think they played 4 snaps of man the first time we played them, so you have a choice. You can either play scared, or you could try to continue doing what your offense is built to do. And if they're blitzing 5-man pressure to stop the run, it's going to get ugly if you keep running the ball. He says, I was fine with the way the game went, and you have to take what the defense is giving you. And then, so here's my thoughts on that, right? Because I understand where he's coming from, right? We were being extremely successful running the ball on Saturday night, to the point where they started having a single high safety and brought the safety down to help stop the run. And in some instances, it did help, where we got some tackles for a loss, but overall, we were still gaining yards. There was a time, and I'll show you in the film breakdown tomorrow, there was a time where Raheem Mostert got contacted in the backfield. He broke through it, still gained 3-4 yards. I'm 100% fine with Mike McDaniel's mindset, right? I'm 100% fine with the thought process of they're committing to stopping the run, so now we're going to throw it to kind of punish them for bringing that safety down because they have fantastic receivers to get open. 100% fine with that mentality if he did that. And I will show you in the film breakdown where there was instances where it was, 3rd and 2 or 3rd and short and all this stuff. And again, they're going to bring the safety down. They're going to show single high safety and, they're going to throw it. But they're throwing outs. They're throwing 2-3 yard outs, and they're throwing quick passes, screens, all that stuff. If the safety is already coming down to try to stop the run, then the line of scrimmage is kind of clogged with defenders. So if you're trying to throw these outs, you're trying to throw these quick passes, you're just trying to throw 2-3 yards to get the first down, then the defenders are going to be there because they're also down there to stop the run. So that's where I'm like, your logic makes sense, but that's not what you called. Like if you were running deep posts, or you were running, kept the tight end, kept Ingold in, and you were running deep posts, deep outs, you were running passes with 3-4 wide receiver sets, then that makes 100% sense, because then all of a sudden you're taking advantage of the single high safety. That's not what they were doing. They were still running tight formations and trying to do play actions to throw the defense off, and it wasn't throwing them off. Again, we'll talk more about that when I do the film breakdown tomorrow. Barry Jackson said 8 times in the game the Dolphins faced 2nd down and 5 yards or fewer, usually following a good run on 1st downs. 5 times in those situations, the Dolphins threw. Tua threw incomplete pass on 4 of those 5 attempts and completed a 3-yard pass to Tyreek Hill on a 2nd and 4 to the other. The Dolphins ran 3 times when it was 2nd and 5 or less and picked up the 1st down on one of those 3 plays. See what I'm saying? Like, it's second and short, and you're trying to throw these short passes. 6th time in the game, the Dolphins faced 3rd down and 3 yards or less. On a night they were dominating on the ground, only on the first, a successful 3rd and 1 by Engel, did the Dolphins run in that situation. The Dolphins also converted their 4th and 1 with a 3-yard run by Mostert. The Dolphins threw it 5 times on the other 3rd down plays, and none were successful. That's what I'm talking about. So again, I'll break it down more, and we'll look at the film. But if you're going to do that, right, if you're like, look, they're showing a certain set, and I always preach about this, that spread their defense out, because then you can take advantage of that. You spread their defense out, you go 3-4 wide, or you go 3 wide, you have Gesicki also out in the slot on the left or the right, then all of a sudden the interior of their defensive line is going to have to spread out as well. Then you have the option. I'm going to give it to Mostert to get the first down on these 3rd and shorts, or am I going to throw it to the outside, because now we have enough room to do it. I understand Mike McDaniel's logic, but I just don't agree with the plays he called in those situations. But again, and I say this all the time, I might not agree with what he does when it comes to time management and plays in certain situations, but I will say this: he's a first-time head coach, he's a first-time play caller, and the Dolphins are 8-5, 8-6 right now. So for a first-timer, he's actually doing really well. The other news, Tua Tagovailoa is leading in the Pro Bowl fan voting, which ends. Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa led all NFL players in Pro Bowl fan voting this year. The NFL announced Monday whether he makes the team. We won't know until Wednesday at 8 o'clock. I will make a video about that when the full rosters are announced. Fan voting, which counts for 1/3 of the total voting, ended last Thursday. So no more voting. Players and coaches count for the other 2/3. Tua received 306,861. Tyreek was second at 293,679. Miami got the 3rd most total team votes, in addition to Tua and Hill. Ingold and Armstead are leading votes in those AFC groups. Now, here's the interesting thing, and this is what I want to talk about, because a Pro Bowl means nothing to me. All Pro is where it's very interesting to me. If Tua makes the Pro Bowl, his 5th-year option in 2024 increases by $6 million. So if the Dolphins in his 5th year, because again, next year he's still under contract, and then they have to decide, do they want to pick up his 5th-year option? Next year, like I said, he's under contract, but then say we go into the playoffs and go into a deep run, into it just continues into the 5-game winning streak form, and all of a sudden it's like, well, now we have to just, he's going to be here next year. We have to decide, do we want to see what more we can get out of him? It's $22 million in 2024, but if he makes the Pro Bowl, it'd be $28 million. So that's a thought, and that's something that this front office needs to decide on, because are they going to give Tua more time? Now, again, he gets next year, because he's under contract next year. It's the year after. Barry says Tua leads the NFL in passer rating with 107.8. He's likely competing with Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, and Justin Herbert for 3 AFC Pro Bowl quarterback slots. I don't see him making the Pro Bowl. I think it'll be Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and Joe Burrow. That'll be your 3 quarterbacks in the Pro Bowl. And I think some people are going to get really upset about that, and I don't. It'd be nice, but again, it is what it is. I would just prefer to win games. Injury updates. Javon Holland, his neck, he said he's fine. He said he had a little bit of a stinger, and his arm felt like it was on fire. He wore the collar, it's called a neck roll in the second half, which I thought it was really cool. It kind of looked old school to me. Just for preventative measures. He was excited on Sunday. He's excited about Sunday's Christmas home game against Green Bay at 1 o'clock. We're about to face Aaron Rodgers. This is Aaron Rodgers we're talking about. That makes me nervous, but we'll talk more about this as the week goes on. Other injuries, Mike McDaniel said running back Jeff Wilson was close to playing against the Bills, but coach had to protect Wilson from himself with a hip injury. Good. Mostert did his thing. We didn't need Jeff Wilson out there, so I'm glad that he protected himself from himself. McDaniel said there was no development with cornerback Byron Jones, who hasn't played this season after March, blah, blah, blah. Linebacker Jerome Baker was briefly left the Bills game late with an ankle injury, was solid on Monday. Mike McDaniel said he's not sure if left guard Liam Eichenberg will come off injured reserve to play. There's no point. And bringing Eichenberg in. Jones is doing fantastic. Teron Armstead is doing well. He says, I just went out there. I want to be out there for my teammates. McDaniel. Okay. Let's go talk about Eric Izukoma. And then we're going to get to some stats. McDaniel indicated that the fact rookie Eric Izukoma hasn't played a single snap isn't a reflection of any dissatisfaction with him. I've really seen Eric progress during the course of the season. He was probably as physically ready for the professional game as any receiver on the roster, but the biggest jump we needed in terms of schematical and hearing a huddle call, it hasn't been anything negative. Eric has practiced very well. So again, this is what we have to understand. He's a 4th-round pick. He's sitting behind Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Sherfield, Craycraft, and I almost said Cedric Wilson Jr., got 5 receivers in front of him that are used to the playing in the NFL, that are used to this scheme, that are understanding of how to run in a huddle. So that's probably the reason why he's not out there. It has nothing to do with he sucks. It has to do more with what's going on there. So those are some tidbits I got from you. Now I want to show you guys some stats, some updated stats on passing and updated stats on pass rush, because pass rush to me is very interesting. So I'm going to minimize myself. My nose is so itchy today. I do apologize. I keep rubbing it. I'm going to have to move myself around. But there's some things I want to talk about, right? You look at yards, right? We'll look at yards. Tua Tagovailoa is 12th ranked in passing yards. When it comes to touchdown passes, Tua is 5th ranked, tied with Trevor Lawrence. When it comes to interceptions, Tua is 2nd least. Now, again, I changed the minimum dropbacks because if you don't, you get guys, especially when you want to look at completion percentage, that will barely have any throws and they'll have 100%. Completion percentage, he dropped. He's now 18th in completion percentage when he was like 1st in completion percentage. And that is because of the past 2 weeks that he had bad games. Completely dropped his completion percentage. Big time throws. Now, I'll pull up the key so you can see what BTT. Big time throws, a pass with excellent ball location and timing, generally thrown further down the field and or in tighter windows. Big time throw percentage. Tua is 12th ranked, tied with Mac Jones and Russell Wilson and Kirk Cousins. He's above Joe Burrow, Justin Fields, Derek Carr, Justin Herbert, Kenny Pickett, Ryan Tannehill, Jared Goff. Tua is 12th in big time throw percentages, which is just at the average. But big time throws altogether, he is 14th. So again, he's making the big time throws. He's throwing them into the tight windows. He's accurate and pinpoint. But on top of him being that accurate, turnover-worthy plays is kind of high with 8th in turnover-worthy play percentage. He's tied with Matthew Stafford. But you see up here, you see Josh Allen is 3rd, Matt Ryan 2nd. Oh, that's not good. Joseph Fields 1st, Geno Smith, who's doing very well. Turnover-worthy plays are up there. Derek Carr, Trevor Lawrence. Because if you're trying to push the ball and you're trying to do these crazy things, that's what's going to happen. This is distance on throws. A dot, which is boop, 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 boop. I think it's over here. Average depth of target. Tua is 2nd with 10 yards for his average depth of target. Now, this is something I found interesting, right? Because we saw it with some of the Bills game. Drop percentage. Because if you look at just the drops, Tua is ranked 10th when it comes to drops that he's had to deal with. But drop percentage obviously takes the percentage of drops to the amount of passes. And if you look at drop percentage, Tua is ranked 8th. So he's been dealing with some drops. Ryan Tannehill, Jared Goff, Daniel Jones, Trevor Lawrence, Josh Allen, Russell Wilson, and Lamar Jackson are ahead of him. Below him, Aaron Rodgers, Jacoby Brissett, Tom Brady, Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray, Patrick Mahomes. But Tua's been dealing with some drops. Now, this isn't Drops, and again, I'll pull up drops. Drop on target percentage, passes dropped by the receiver. So again, this is a percentage, but drops on target, passes dropped by the receiver. So that doesn't mean overthrown or inaccurate passes. It's drops by the receiver. Tua is 8th in the NFL dealing with drops and dealing with all of that stuff. So I found that very interesting. Another thing I found very interesting, time to throw, TTT. Average time to throw on all dropbacks, meaning it's not the time that the ball hits his hand and he gets it out. It's the time he has to throw before the pressure gets to him. Leading is Justin Fields, 3.42 seconds. Tua Tagovailoa is all the way down here at 24th when it comes to time to throw. Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow, Tom Brady have less time than him to throw. Justin Herbert has more time than Tua has to throw, which is very interesting to me. Very, very interesting to me. And the last thing I want to talk about is first downs. Tua is 14th in the NFL in first downs. He has more first downs than Aaron Rodgers, Ryan Tannehill, Justin Fields, Lamar Jackson. So, he gets blamed a lot for the defense being on the field because, a lot of people want to say, oh, he doesn't get the first downs. He's kind of middle of the pack when it comes to getting first downs. And his passer rating, he's first in the NFL. But I find that very interesting that he's actually does get a ton of first downs. Now, pass rush. I want to talk about pass rush because one of our guys is actually doing much better than I thought when it comes to pass rush. So win percentage, right? Pull this up. Win percentage. Percentage of wins versus blocking on non-penalty pass rush snaps. So this is the percent of time that the defensive end, linebacker, or whatever wins against their blocker. Look who's number 7. Jalen Phillips. Fantastic. This kid constantly, and this is what drives me nuts, and we'll look at it again in the film breakdown. He a lot of times gets dropped back into coverage or he's not on the field. Like I noticed sometimes there would be Andrew Van Ginkel and Jerome Baker rushing, or Andrew Van Ginkel and Bradley Chubb rushing, and Jalen Phillips is on the field. He is constantly getting out there. PRP. PRP stands for a formula that combines sacks, hits, hurries relative to how many times they rush the passer. So PRP, Jalen Phillips, again, is 7th in the NFL. Constantly getting after the quarterback. Hurries, 6th in the NFL with Jalen Phillips. 6th in hurries. Hits, he is down a little further, but he's tied with Bradley Chubb with 12th with hits. Now sacks, he has 7. So he's going to be all the way down here. He's going to be 28th with sacks, but he's coming up there. You got your leading sack is Matthew Judon, who's just a complete beast. But I wanted to show you this to show you that the win percentage, top 10. The hurries, top 10. The PRP, top 10. The hits, I think he's top 10 in the hits. No. Top 12 in the hits. So a lot of people are looking at Jalen Phillips, and I notice it during live streams and stuff, and are like, where's Jalen Phillips? Oh, he's a bust. He only has 7 sacks. I haven't seen him. Oh, he's not doing anything, blah, blah, blah. He's doing a lot. He's doing a lot. And that's where I'm very interested in seeing, especially when it comes to the film breakdown, what's going on. Every time I do film breakdowns, I look and I try to see what's going on. Why aren't we getting after the quarterback quick enough with just our front four? And what's, in certain situations, what's going on with that? Because I just showed you stat-wise, Jalen Phillips is top 10 in all pass rushing stats except for getting at the quarterback and sacking him. So I find that extremely, extremely interesting. But that's what I got for you guys today. I thought I'd give you guys some updated notes. I thought I'd give you guys some things from Mike McDaniel, some things from Tua, all that good stuff. Tomorrow, film breakdown. We're going to be breaking down the Buffalo Bills tape. I hit you guys up in the community on Twitter. A lot of the stuff you guys want to see is what I was going to cover, but a lot of times I like kind of cover things that's probably redundant. So I was like, let me see what they wanted to see. So we'll do that tomorrow. But other than that, like usual, stay classy. That fins up.